Hey everybody, Steven here, Green Effect Podcast, Season 4, Episode 12. Man, bit of a recap week, to be honest with you. It's been really busy again, and we're going to get into that a little bit. Really, this week is all about the fallout from the federal budget. I'm hearing a lot of really cool terms for Justin Trudeau and Chrystia Freeland. I call them, Disney Plus Lady and J.T. I've heard Tweedledee and Tweedledum. I've heard Dumb and Dumber. I've heard a whole bunch of stuff. I just stick to Disney Plus Lady and J.T. That kind of just is the most affection I can think of. So we're definitely going to talk a little bit about what the fallout is, because there has been some considerable fallout coming. So, first of all, if you kind of notice me grimacing every time I swallow or I talk loudly, I was out last night with a group of friends, and we were at a bar trying to cheer on the Leafs, and that didn't go too well. So I don't know what's going to happen. I hope you're not a Leafs fan. It might just be kind of just another year of losing to Boston in the playoffs. But it's actually funny. My daughter just loves Austin Matthews. So of course, being the supportive guy that I am, I as the game went on, every time Boston scored, I would send her a picture of Austin Matthews golfing. Didn't go over real well, but I thought it was funny. So hell, remember, I don't know if you saw me post this on social media. I'm at the age now where I post or I say things and I got to ask my wife, hey, was that like funny? Because I thought it was funny. I thought it was funny. I don't think she did. Not a big deal. So had another instance where myself, our family, and my in-laws, my wife's parents, we went down to Buffalo to see a Leafs game. And first of all, if you've ever been there before for a Leafs game, you may as well just you can close your eyes and you wouldn't even know you were in Buffalo. You would think you're at ACC. Anyway, we go down there, and again, she's just absolutely in love with Austin Matthews. I really don't know why, but she is. And so we were at the Leafs game, and I was sending her pictures of Austin Matthews just randomly, and she kept looking over at me like, "What the hell are you doing?" Anyway, again, I thought it was funny. I asked my wife. She's like, maybe it's a little bit funny. Whatever. I thought it was. So, all right, let's get right into. Actually, let's talk about this week first, and we'll get into the fallout in the federal budget. So, here's what we're kind of seeing in the market. I've been busy. I won't lie. I have been busy. I've been busy with a couple of different really groups of clients. So one is really the refinance group. Okay, so mortgage is coming up for renewal. We're either refinancing or switching. Just trying to provide a lot of advice, open up cash flow, stuff like that. And then the other group is really our home buyers in general, first timers, repeat. It's kind of a combination of both, really. And I think it's if I look at the people who are buying, some of it's pent up demand. Okay, that's definitely coming up. But in the first time home buyer section, it's really people that all of a sudden have found a house that they really want and they're going for it. So, but I think a bigger point to mention from a market perspective, the whole thing with firm offers is coming back. Scary as hell, but the first time the going firm on offers is coming back now. It's becoming more popular because there's just more off. There's more. There's less demand. Sorry, there's less supply and more demand. Right. So this whole thing where we have such few single family housing starts and permits being issued, we're now starting to see that in the market, right? I think interest rates have kind of flattened out a little bit. We're in and around that 5-ish% range for most rates. And so we're seeing a lot of people now kind of adapting to it. I'm doing a lot of apps where people are paying out debt, or mom and dad are coming to the table. Pardon me, mom and dad are coming to the table to help with that, right? Here, I'll help pay off your car loan or whatever. Because remember, big picture, the baby boomers are not dying off fast enough. So the transfer of wealth through the generations is happening much slower, right? So again, We're starting to see a lot more of that. I'll pay this out, pay that out. People really trying to make concessions. I have some clients that are, you know, they're working their butts off, and their affordability is in around the 450, 500 range, and they're battling, right? Some are finding something, some aren't. So that's really what we're seeing. It's busy. Like, it's definitely busy. People are putting offers in on stuff, and things are going firm. And I made a remark there. It kind of almost feels like 2021 all over again. But then what happened was we had rates they stayed where they were, but they kind of went up a little bit, just a little bit, when bond prices jumped up. So I'll just give you some more context here. What we're also seeing is we were getting really steep discounts off our posted rates, and not like the actual bank posted rates, but the discounted rates that we offer. We were getting further discounts, like a lot further discounts. And now we're just not. So bond prices have gone up, and now banks have stopped giving these additional discounts that we were getting. So we still fight for them. Like, we're still getting bigger discounts off our discounted rates, but it's not as steep as it was about, I don't know, 2 months ago, month or so ago, right? So now all of a sudden, if you're not getting those discounted rates, now again, it's almost like a rate increase because the discount wasn't as steep, if that makes any sense. More questions? Let me know. I can definitely go through it with everybody. Okay. So that's kind of a market update thing. So let's talk about fallout. Some of this will maybe be fallout, some of it will be more just stuff that has come up. But this capital gains thing, here's what worries me. And I'm not going to rehash what it is, and because the more things are kind of coming up with it around what it really means, how significant is it? I heard one person on social media, very socialist, a teacher, union worker, stuff like that. And his comment was, are we going to see large businesses leave Canada because of this? He's like, oh, no, they're not going to leave. Heck no. I don't know. If I'm a business and I don't have to be here, am I going to stay here? No. If I'm a business and I have to be here, yeah, I'm probably going to stay. Absolutely. Right. I mean, I'm going to suck it up and pay the tax. It is what it is. So, what worries me about the capital gains issue, and again, I'm not going to rehash it all, I find it's really driven a stake between, I'm going to say, the upper class and the lower class, which basically means the middle class is divided and stretching further. Because I've said this before on this show, like, the middle class is being slaughtered. Okay. Eh, how does the middle class get by these days? I know what I'm doing. Like, it's crazy, right? So, but it's shocking how much this is dividing our country. Just this capital gains thing, if that's not enough, right? You're either someone who is on the side of investors, people who are maybe self-employed, people who have worked really hard for their money and they've grown it into a portfolio, or whatever the case may be. And then you've got the other folks who, they're struggling. They're never going to have a business. They're never going to have investments. They're never going to have investment properties or sell a business for over $1 million. It really kind of scares me, to be honest. And I've mentioned this before. We're in a time right now, and for those of you who don't know, I'm mid 40s. I'm Gen X. I've never been in a situation as a Canadian where I've questioned my Canadianism. I've never been in this situation. I've always been like I love going to the US, right? Like I've said before, I love going to the US, get my icy from Target, get my popcorn when they used to have it. At the time, free Wi-Fi, because you can never get a roaming package. But man, when I came back across the border, through Sarnia or Fort Erie or whatever, man, it was good to be back in Canada. Like, I loved Canada. It was a great place to be. But this is the first time I've never questioned this. I've never my patriotism. I've never questioned it before, because I see what's happening. I see what's happening with again, the obliteration of the middle class. And I'm like, where are we going with this? There was a quote, and gosh, I gotta find it. The current stance of government and policy has forced folks who are in the middle or slightly to the left into the right or something like that. Like we've been forced into more of a progressive conservative support just to get rid of the other parties, which is kind of scary. Okay. So that's kind of what I see with this right now. There's a crazy divide and it's scary. I don't know how it's going to be resolved. I don't know if they back off because, as far as I know, right now it's only a proposal, so it hasn't actually been passed yet. Their budget still has to be passed; it hasn't been passed yet. So, if the NDP can decide who's going to be their friend this week, this thing might not even pass. Who knows? But just a huge, huge divide, and that scares me a lot. Just watch social media and a lot of misinformation too. Like I'm presenting to my realtor partner, anyone who's a realtor, we have a special monthly webinar for you talking about the market, etc. And I'm doing that this week. And in my presentation, I posted, right, I showed a picture of global news saying the future of halal mortgages and interest-free mortgages. They're not interest-free. Like the amount of misinformation out there is insane, and it worries me. It truly, genuinely worries me. So, anyway, the capital gains thing is just, it's a disaster. Again, I've never seen so much backlash on something before. So, we will definitely see what happens there. Okay, some other things that have kind of come out. This is actually not a fallout at all. There's one proposal which is a fantastic idea. Haven't got a clue how they're gonna control it, but it's a great idea. Where um, so as mortgage brokers, when we're doing deals, we always have an issue with fraudulent documents, fraudulent income docs, made up pay stubs. I've said this before, and I'll say it again. Just stop. Stop trying to pass fraudulent freaking documents because no, you're not good at it. Like, stop. You're not good at Photoshop. You're not good at whatever Microsoft Paint or print shop or whatever the hell else you're using. Just stop. You're not very good at it. So what the proposal is that brokers or banks or whoever's doing a mortgage will have access, and I'm not like not direct access, but the ability to cross-reference income reported to what the CRA says. Okay. Now, I'm good with that. Sounds great. And it's got to happen. Something along those lines has to happen. My concern is I don't know if you ever tried to like get a password reset for the CRA My Account section, but I swear to God, it's like it's like brain surgery because their security is tight, which is good. I'm glad their security is tight, but I don't know how they control this information. I'm sure they'll figure it out, no problem, but it's going to take time. That is one way we can crack down on some of this crazy mortgage fraud. Um, but I definitely, that's something that's needed. They brought this up again. They're 10 years late, but hey, better late than never. For people who are listening and not watching me on video right now, I'm rolling my eyes and shaking my head. Okay, so that's definitely a good thing there. All right, what was the other thing I was going to talk about? There's a few more things. Okay, so let's talk about where. Sorry, let me finish off federal budget. So I want to reiterate this. I really want to reiterate this. We're not building 3.9 million homes in 7 years. Not going to happen. Zero. Zilch. Hell no. I did the math on the last podcast. Go back and listen to it. We're not building 550,000 homes a year in the next 7 years. No, not a chance. I think the government spending in general is just being questioned. Like, did this guy ever run a lemonade stand? Or have a paper route? or have a wallet with money. Him or Chrystia Freeland, like the whole damn government. Like it's just it's so this whole EV thing. So another thing that's happening is they are giving money to EV manufacturers like it's going out of style. Like it's going out of style. So just a couple of days ago, Honda, they're getting massive tax breaks because I believe please again fact check me on this one. They had a bucket of money to give to car manufacturers for EV technology manufacturing, etc. Well, they ran out of money. Shocker. And so Honda showed up on the scene. They're going to be investing $15 billion in Ontario, which is fantastic. Job creation, the whole bit, for the EV manufacturing. And instead of having any money given to them, they're getting some massive tax breaks. Massive. And I don't know how much it is exactly, but massive tax breaks. And so, again, I look at this, and if we're talking about true, call it fallout of government decisions, including the federal budget, here's another one. People are sick of this EV shit. Like, they're done. I've never had an EV. I think they're fantastic. Don't get me wrong. I think they are the future. Absolutely 100%. But the future is not going to be accomplished under their timeline of like 2032 or whatever the hell they're talking about. It's not there, guys. The tech is not there yet. And I think that's why people are so pissed off with this carbon thing and the money they're giving to Honda, to these VW Honda tax breaks. Again, all just it's just not been a good week if you're a liberal, anybody. Okay, but again, this is part of the fallout. People are putting all this together, and they're like, "What the hell are you guys thinking?" And guys, just if I can segue into my next section here, we want to talk about fallout. Let's not kid ourselves. Some of this crap they're doing is inflationary. The more damn money we spend, what's the number? Again, fact check me because I research a lot. The HST, not the HST, but the GST portion of the HST, the federal portion, I think barely pays our interest on the debt that we have. Think about that for a second. Every time you go and buy something and you're paying HST, the 5 or 6% federal portion just pays interest to the government. That's all it is. They're paying the interest on their debt. So if I can, again, a lot of inflationary spending from the budget, okay, that's got people very pissed off. And then the lies. I'm stealing that line from Steve Seresky, great guy. He just came out and said they're lying to you. Guys, they're not building that many homes. Sort of beat a dead horse, but that's where we're at. Let me segue from inflationary spending into where rates are going to go. So here's the mess of it. Are rates going to come down at the speed we thought they were? Man, I was saying, even though people are saying, oh, 0.75%, it went from like 1.5% to 0.75%. Now people are saying 0.5%. I'm still saying over 1% because I think with business insolvencies where they are, with consumer debt just piling on, gas is through the roof. I'm just reading off my list here of crap that's going on. People's house prices decreasing. What else? I had another item here on my list. With all this crazy shit going on, honestly, they're gonna have to drop rates. Oh, Toronto mortgage delinquency rates surged 71% higher. I think they're gonna have to drop rates a lot faster. Yeah, maybe the markets are pricing in 0.5%, 0.75%. I think this shit's worse than it's coming out. I've said that before. I really, really have. I think I see people struggling. I do. I see it firsthand. I see people struggling. I see people struggling to pay their bills, put food on the table. Okay. And listen, I consider myself lucky. My wife and I, listen, we're able to still afford things, not as much as we used to. Do we eat out once, maybe twice a week? Maybe twice. Once, yeah, absolutely once, right? Busy with my job, stuff like that. I get home and I'm like, I don't want to cook anything. Let's get something. But I think the issue becomes if they drop rates too fast, our Canadian dollar will become a Canadian peso. He will kill our Canadian dollar. So the Bank of Canada has a choice to be made. Do we save the consumer and drop rates more aggressively, or do we save our dollar against the US dollar and preserve that side? Historically, they've always picked the consumer. Who knows? Remember, no one went to school for post pandemic economics. We are making this up as we go. So who knows what's going to happen? But it will drop. They're going to have to. We can't maintain where we're at much longer. Mark my words, we can't maintain where we are much longer. Rate drops have to be gradual, but they better friggin' hurry up. Because shit's gonna start going sideways a lot faster. Gotta pick one. We're gonna pick the Canadian dollar, or we're gonna pick the consumer. I think it's gotta be the consumer, folks. Has to. Okay. So anyway, so that's what is there. And then inflation, I'll bring this up too. So is the other issue with the rates. Inflation went up a bit to 2.9 from 2.8. It's very simple as to the reason why. It's not complicated. Mortgage expenses going up, rent expenses going up. It's very simple. Okay. Follow me on social media for that stuff. I talk more and more about that. But we are going to see constant increase in mortgage cost for the next 2 or 3 years. Like we are. So I don't know, do you drop rates sooner and more aggressively to get that under control? Maybe technically, one of those two. Maybe inflation comes down because you don't have jacked up mortgage payments when you renew. But here's the problem. People have now been tightened up for a year and a half, like the housing market. Second rates start to come down, people are going to friggin' start to spend nonstop. Like, he's not going to win this. So who are you going to save? The economy or the consumer? And this is a very difficult decision. I get it. He's not going to win this. So does he err on the side of caution and just keep the rates higher? Maybe he does. Well, mind you, of course, we shouldn't have a problem with employment because we're going to build 3.9 million homes in the next 7 years anyway, right? With an aging trades force, it's insane. All right, that's what's going on, my friends. Love to hear in the comments what your thoughts are. I really genuinely do. Because we're going into a crazy time. One more log on the fire. 2025 is around the corner. That's when immigration is supposed to be tightened up. What happens when immigration comes way down? And remember, immigration on its own is inflationary. What happens when that comes down? And now we got less people working those jobs, like temporary workers working at, Walmart and those sort of jobs, because let's just call it what it is. That's where a lot of student visas, temporary workers, a lot of them are doing those jobs 2 and 3 jobs. What happens when we have a reduction there? We're not going to win this, but just lower rates. Seriously, let's call it just lower rates. Let's just lower the rates. Come on, man. What are we doing, right? All right. That's all I got for this week. That's enough. This is going nowhere. Any questions? I honestly, please, in the comments, I want to hear what your thoughts are. I would love to hear what you think is going to happen. Who do we save? Consumer or business? Might gotta pick one. Might gotta pick one. There's some great English for you. All right. Love me, want me, like me, desire me, 5 stars, all that fun stuff. Until next time, keep fit, have fun, and good luck.